I am the Reverend Benjamin Samedi, vocalist and guitarist for Nightmare Sonata. I first heard about the Myke Hideous when I read a book called Piercing the Darkness, which was written the Kathleen Ramsland, who had done the companions to the original Anne Rice work. She had gone on this undercover mission to find out what happened to this one girl who had gotten lost in the underground living vampire scene in New York. And she had found her way into a Myke Hideous, Myke Hideous show. And it was the one where he had put the hypodermic needles into his scalp and then pulled them back out when he was doing the song To Thread and Needle. And that was when I first heard about the Myke Hideous, and I was fascinated by that. I was a senior in high school. And a year or two or three later, someone had made me a mix CD that had the song To Thread and Needle on it. And I liked it so much that I ordered from whatever distributor he was working with at the time, Victim Destroys Assailant and Say Your Prayers. And he sent me, or the label sent me the CDs, and it had like postcards and stickers and stuff in there with it. And I noticed that Myke Hideous had autographed the invoice, and I still have that invoice amongst my things somewhere. And later on, when the compilation that had the Complete Master Works, that had all of the songs from the EPs that had been released on vinyl put on one disc, I ended up buying that as well. And I'm just a big fan of the Myke Hideous. You know, I think that Misfits Mach 2 sounded better with Myke Hideous on vocals than they did with any of the Michael Graves stuff. Myke Hideous was a better performer and a better singer, and he appreciated what he was doing more than Michael Graves did. So, huge fan, always a huge fan. And I used to have this friend that lived in Manhattan, that she would make road trips down to Florida to see her father, and she would make stops in North Carolina as a part of the trip. She would stay for a few days, and we were doing this July 4th house show at the big punk frat house type deal on North Cedar Street here in Greensboro, where they filmed a couple of scenes from Hellraiser 3, just to kind of give you some perspective. And she took a bunch of pictures, and she took a bunch of Nightmare Sonata swag that ended up making it back up to New York with her. And through conversations, you know, it came out that she had dealings with Myke Hideous, you know, through his DJ personas for some of the goth nights that she was involved in. And I begged her to show him those pictures and show him the pieces of the video and let him hear the songs, because I wanted his expert feedback from, you know, like a hero of mine on what he thought about what we were doing, and possibly give us some pointers on other things we could do. And whether it happened or not, Lord only knows. But I remember when I was found out that Living the American Nightmare was going to be coming out, and it had everybody. It had Myke Hideous, it had Peter Steele, it had Steve Zing, it had Kenny Hickey and Johnny Kelly, and it was going to have interviews with Bobby Steele and Mr. Jim and all of these guys. You know, I was genuinely excited. I loved the previews, and I loved the concept of the documentary, kind of telling the story of what life was like for these people that have been a huge influence on what I do musically. I want to say a month ago, our manager, my wife Jennifer, saw where they were, you know, asking online who was interested in getting a copy of living the American Nightmare. I'm like, oh, we are, you know, hell yeah, we want to see that. You know, us being a southern horror rock band and then being, you know, a Jersey horror rock band, kind of bridge the gap between the two halves of the Mason-Dixie line. Jumped all over it, and so this is my opportunity to say in a format that I know for absolute certain that he'll see it. Mr. Myke Hideous, what you did musically had a profound impact on what I do, and the things that you've stood for as an independent artist have really had an influence on the way that I do things and the way that I believe and what I think a demonstration of artistic integrity should be. And you have nothing to be ashamed of in terms of what you did or did not accomplish, because you stayed the course and you did the best with what you had, and what you did was nothing short of amazing. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for doing what you have done, for helping produce Living the American Nightmare, which not only tells your story, but it tells our story. And when I say our, I mean the entire independent horror rock genre. I will be doing everything I can to kind of steer people towards what you've done, and to get the word, you know, to get the facts of what our lives are like out there in the public eye, you know, in an attempt to knock these mainstream music mongrels, moguls, or whatever sort of ghouls they are, off of their high and mighty pedestal and back down into the blood and the sweat and the shit that the rest of us have been slugging it out in. From the bottom of my heart, thank you very much.